Cynthia Monteleone, sprinting, getting started, and dealing with injury.
Main point is to just try to remain explosive as long as you can. And so I do give suggestions in my book. I suggest that, for instance, for hills, if you walk up a hill for about 2 minutes and 45 seconds, then walk back down, then that can be your starting point. And just see how much faster you can get every week, starting out with walking, then maybe jogging, and then getting faster and faster as time goes on.
Okay.
Any longer than that, you might start getting into the endurance zone. You can absolutely go shorter. I am a 400-meter sprinter, so I'm on all three energy systems, but I definitely get into the lactic zone, which is awesome. But there are plenty of sprinters who just do 30 meters, 40 meters. And when you want to do that, if you want to be a short sprinter, then you can just get on a field to start with and run for, say, 20 seconds and then walk back and do that several times. You can run a little bit shorter as you get faster. So it just, you can vary, but you don't need fancy equipment. If we were to do that, we're a little bit more experienced. We've been running. We would go at we'd start at maybe 70% or 80% for the first couple, make sure we're really warmed up. Of course, I would have you do a long 10-minute dynamic warm up first, but then we would get into this, accelerate a little bit, and then we would go for maybe like 80 to 90%. Sprinters don't often go 100%. There's different ways of thinking about this, but you go 100% on race day, but if you can, it's almost like the 1 rep max.
Right.
You're not doing that every time you work out.
Totally.
Same thing with sprinting. You don't have to go 100% every time. You can go several times in the 90% range. Just be mindful of having really great running shoes so that your shins are supported, and compression socks are fantastic for supporting your shins and as well sending blood back up to your heart faster. Mainly if you just strengthen those muscles through strength training, you're going to have a pretty easy time increasing your speed as you go. Again, you're not just going out and running 100% today out of the blue. You're starting slow and building up your speed a little bit more and a little bit more. And people have just found tremendous results from doing that, like going a little bit faster than they thought they could go.
Yeah.
And then there's this psychological benefit where they're like, I'm so proud of myself. I can't believe I just did that. Anyone can do this. To your ability, of course, but it doesn't take someone. People always assume that I was some world-class runner in college or something like that. Yeah, I had some experience, but I do believe that anyone can start wherever they are. You are going to get more of a stretch in your calves and your Achilles, but again, like by gradually building up the speed, it's just going to strengthen those muscles over time. Now, Achilles is one of my specialties that I deal with because I deal with so many runners and my clients. I work with a lot of Olympian runners. And what I've found is actually there was a really interesting study that came out that identified spontaneous Achilles ruptures had staph infections.
Wow.
And they took muscle biopsies from the hamstrings of the same individuals and there was no staph. So what was happening is possibly that this staph bacteria was, again, attracted to the inflamed tissue and living there. And I have found that there are certain things dietary-wise that you can intake that really mitigates the Achilles pain. So I've been able to metabolically reverse Achilles tendonitis in 2 weeks.
Whoa.
Sometimes longer.
Yeah.
And with no other training or rehabilitation. I'm not saying this is like the perfect solution for everyone, but it's definitely an option. And that involved eliminating sugar. So maybe like less than 8 grams a day from whatever sources. 8 grams or less, definitely eliminating grains, eliminating dairy, and introducing coconut oil. Because the coconut oil has monolaurin, the lauric acid, and monolaurin is also found in breast milk. So I always joke around, hey, if you don't have any breast milk candy, then just go with the coconut oil.
Nice.
But so this is one of the few things that kills resistant staph.
Interesting.
So they just take shots of coconut oil or mix it into their protein shakes, and within 2 weeks, that Achilles tendonitis is gone. But he would say like it's a different bacteria in your elbow. If you have elbow, like tennis elbow or elbow pain, it's usually Blastocystis hominis. So it's a different bacteria for different joints, which is really interesting as well. I think there's a lot of work to be done in that area where the scientists they've just barely started looking into it. I'm just an average mom. I was probably 20 pounds overweight after my last child, which I advise to anyone who's breastfeeding: don't try to lose weight. You need it to feed your child. So that's not the time to do it. But when you're done breastfeeding, if you want to get fit again, then start making choices. Like, I really try to empower people to make choices. It's all up to them. They can do that. They can push their body to become a superhero themselves, their own superhero.
For hills, walk uphill for 2 minutes and 45 seconds, then walk back down. That is your starting point. Start with walking, then jogging, then running faster and faster. If you sprint longer, that is the endurance zone. If shorter, run for 20 seconds, walk back, and repeat. Wear great quality running shoes and compression socks. Runners with experience can 1. Do a 10-minute dynamic warm-up. 2. Go at 70% for the first few reps. 3. 80% for the next few reps. And then finally 4. 90% for the last few reps. Running barefoot on a beach? That's fine. It is more of a stretch of the calves and Achilles. Working with athletes. A recent study showed that spontaneous Achilles ruptures had staph infection. Staph bacteria was attracted to the inflamed tissue. Cynthia has reversed this within 2 weeks in some of her athletic clients. What she did was eliminate sugar, keeping it at 8 grams or less per day. Eliminate dairy, and introduce coconut oil into the daily routine.